Is the shed a real revolution in the world of art and culture in 21st century?
Well, it's New York's first centre for all arts in the 21st century to be built from scratch. I think that in itself isn't a revolution, but it's an opportunity. And that's what really the shed is. It was an opportunity to create something new. And what I thought would be exciting would be a centre for all arts that commissioned all arts and that was for all audiences. And I think that the idea that all of the forms of human creativity could coexist and interact in one place is relatively new.
If you look at it internationally, can we say it's a revolution? Something absolutely new?
I don't know. I think there are...
Of course you know!
No, I don't. I think there are pockets of what we're doing that other people have done. I'm not sure there are many people who have done it in that particular way.
You don't like the distinction between high and popular culture. Could you speak about that?
I think when you start to place humans, in high and low, I think it's very problematic and condescending. I'm not sure whether I want to get into a conversation about whether a Schumann song is higher or lower than a song by Nina Simone. To me, they're both profoundly important. And I'm not sure why we have to create a false hierarchy to make one more elevated than the other. So I find it a little binary and not even true.
Yes, but most of the time it's like that.
Not in my mind.
Okay.
When I used to play the trumpet, I could play classical music well or badly, and I could play pop and jazz well or badly. And it was more about how I did it and what I was doing rather than the genre or the style I was inhabiting.
So the shed is your new trumpet?
It's my new dream, that's for sure, and I want to share it with everyone.
Did you help for the conception of this very special architecture?
I had the great privilege of arriving 4.5 years ago when already Liz Diller, with her co-architect David Rockwell, had done a lot of the work with under Dan Doctorow, who's our chairman. But I was still in time to be able to make some fundamental changes. For example, we dramatically increased the seating capacity in the main McCourt space from, I think, 800 to 1,250. We soundproofed the fixed building where the two galleries and the theatre are, and the McCourt, so that we could do amplified music in there while we're doing quiet theatre and intimate gallery work that required quiet. We increased the capacity of the theatre from 350 to 500 by raising the ceiling. We removed hopefully they were hoping to have a Michelin star restaurant in the top floor, and I said, let's not try and do that. Let's turn that into a rehearsal space and a lab for early career artists from New York, so that we're much more on message about what we're trying to be and who we're trying to help and support.
How do you manage to create the program for the shed?
Well, as the artistic director, I have an overview of the whole program, but I'm very lucky and privileged to have 3 key colleagues. Hans-Ulrich Obrist, who is our expert advisor, Tamara McCall, who's my Chief Civic Program Officer, and Emma Enderby, our Senior Curator. And really together, we develop the program. We all share a common belief in that our program should be artist-driven. So we always start with a blank page at the start of any commission, and we very rigorously look to which, I think, if we had to distill a year down to 15 artists, saying who would those 15 artists be in terms of their breadth, in terms of their talent, in terms of how collectively they would represent a program and the breadth of a society that we live in.
So, give me an example. For example, Gerhard Richter, how did it work?
So, Gerhard Richter is a good story because Hans Ulrich and I bumped into each other at an airport at the gate, and we realized we were both getting on the same plane without knowing it. So we decided, and it was to Los Angeles from London, so we decided that the rules of the game would be that by the time we got off the plane, we would try and develop an idea for ourselves at the time. And I asked him, which artist has maybe had the most influence on you and had the most profound impact on you, and he immediately said Gerhard Richter. And I remember saying to Hans, I'm not an expert like you about Gerhard Richter, but the work that I've seen and appreciated, I could imagine Gerhard listening to composers like Arvo Pärt and Steve Reich. I said, why don't we see whether he would, he's worked with music before, with Glenn Ranka, and he had the Cage paintings, which were inspired by Cage. Let's find out, would he ever consider making work with a composer? And amazingly, when Hans went to see him, when Hans asked him the question,